Hello, welcome to my channel. In one of my previous videos, I mentioned an idea about basing a painting on one of the sculptures I made during my school years. I can have an idea for an artwork and return to it later. And, by coincidence, I was going through one of my sketchbooks when the painting was already done. I found a sketch from 2022, similar to what I'm drawing in the video. I remember drawing the sketch while I was on a bus. It's always interesting to find older sketches and see how some ideas have been there longer than we might remember. I tried to alter the pose for different angles for each sketch to see which I liked the most. The ideas looked nice, but I wanted to make one more sketch. Instead of a flower, there would be a pine cone. I made some pine cone flower sculptures as a part of a school project, and I have a couple still laying around. Having a pine cone would make the piece more interesting and playful. Making this artwork has brought up so many memories and joy. It was a bit challenging to draw the sketch because I was sitting far from the sketch, so my head won't take up most of the screen. Once I stood up, I corrected the sketch as I see the surface better instead of an angle. I usually like to go to a deep flow space and sit down while I let my ideas flow. One thing I have noticed about myself is that my sketching style can vary on a daily basis. Sometimes it's light, sensitive and detailed, and sometimes more loose and cartoony. Sketchbooks are allowed to be messy, but sometimes I treat them as a diary too. Even if I'm more comfortable sketching in peace, I still want to document some of my sketching processes. I like to do these videos to document my work and how I do things. After a break, I took a piece of baking paper sheet and started tracing my sketch. The sketch in the baking paper sheet would be a mirror image, so I needed to go over the other side as well before transferring the sketch to the watercolor paper. I made the final corrections and strengthened some lines before the piece was ready for painting. I started the painting process by laying down a base layer for colors. It's easy to start building up the layers once the base is done. For this work, it was important to control the whole surface, so it was easier to see where everything would sit. I decided to play around with the size and go with a flow with the background. The background turns into a maze easily, so I worked on it for multiple days to have proper breaks while building the layers. I added some dandelions to the background to bring in some color and to have something in there. The flowers also break down the horizontal lines a bit. I was using a small brush for details. For depth I used some cold blue colors. I used phthalo blue for the darkest parts and mixed it with some greens as well to create different shades. I used phthalo blue for the details too, to bring out some layers. It also makes the layering more interesting when there are some darker details in front instead of all being pushed back. Back to the sketchbook talk. I went through some old sketchbooks and what I saw there really made my day. Seeing the old drawings and how I constructed the pages was inspiring. Going through old works is a great source to see development and sometimes maybe forgotten things. And I wish to get back to the ways I used to sketch and draw ideas from. I feel like I regressed a little bit with the way I used my sketchbooks, and there are many reasons for that. Many life and other things got in the way, which is completely normal. But what I draw from this is that there is always time to get back to the things that bring the most joy. For example, I started filling my current sketchbook the way I used to. And like I said earlier, a sketchbook can be a reflection of current events, and there are multiple ways to fill a sketchbook or do art. I was in a rut with the voiceover part, and I just wanted to create more. Sometimes leaving a project for a moment is the right call, because some distance can bring out some new perspectives. And in my case, it helped to put some thoughts into words. I do write down some thoughts while painting, but I don't always have words for my thoughts because I tend to deep dive into the painting process and I just enjoy what I do. I painted this work in June and it's July already. I was creating and gathering inspiration while I was not working on the video. I feel like there has been some stress hiding in the background. I went to Auri's concert. The music is symphonic, Celtic and with some cinematic pop. I really loved the concert and I was able to relax and drown into the music without a worry in the world. And with the overall atmosphere the concert had. I was doodling with watercolors in my sketchbook before the concert began and it started raining. But the rain didn't matter. It added the experience in a soothing way when the raindrops hit my rain jacket. I also attended 2 medieval fairs, one bigger and one smaller one. It was nice to visit both events and I just wanted to paint more cervitaurs. Here's the sketch I painted at the concert. It's not related to the painting process, but I wanted to share it and I'm still experimenting with making videos. I just want to show you what I do. I painted a puddle study while waiting so it's more detailed. I wanted to capture a moment during the songs, but I couldn't because of the rain. So the next day I doodled it in a way I would have at the concert, quickly with a water brush. I captured the moment on the sketchbook page like I imagined it would have looked like if I had done it at the concert. I didn't want to take a photo because I find it more precious to find some memories in sketchbook pages. And I do take a lot of photos. But sometimes I just want to enjoy what I see and not capture everything I do at the places I'm in. I want to document my memories in other ways sometimes. I used some lavender color to push the background and with shade in the cervitaur. I mixed some purple with English red too to create some fur shadows. Lavender and cerulean blue muted the colors a bit and I made them lighter in tone. I like to experiment in creating shades and textures with different colors like lavender and cerulean blue. I added some warm red and orange to make the background more interesting. Red is a complementary color to green, so it helps to bring some details to life. After all, nature has multiple shades of color in it, not just green. Red in the background also balances out the work, as I used red tones for the cervitaur's fur. You can see I had longer painting sessions, because the paper kept moving around. I left some background shapes more free to interpret. I used some browns and yellows too to the background alongside red. Brown helps to balance out green. I tend to add some brown to grassy areas to bring out some dirt. It makes the grassy areas more alive and grounds the piece. It is important to have slow moments, and watercolors are a great medium to take it more slowly. I took my time with painting the background, mainly because the layering process needed time. Secondly, for the details to find their places. Had I done the background in one sitting, it wouldn't become as interesting. I wouldn't have used any red, for example, as my mind was set on mainly greens and blues in the beginning. Rest between sessions helps new ideas to breathe, and it's easier to approach the work from different angles and notice something that was hidden. Creative work takes some mental energy to keep the cogs running, so it's another reason to have rest time. The creative process continues in the background even when you are resting. I took my time with the script too. I wrote and recorded it in sessions, so some parts might be a bit all over the places. But it's also how my creative brain works. It's a bit jumpy sometimes. I'm just focusing on the bits that I feel pulled towards. When the creative well is empty, it needs time to get filled again. I left the project and started to pour my feelings into a sketchbook. It helped, and I started to see more clearly. The ideas started flowing again after I gave myself time to focus on clearing the creative blocks. I kind of want to do something colorful and loose and paint with feeling rather than thinking about what I do. I tend to go into details and sometimes I think too much. I could do some loose paintings to sketchbooks and see if I want to continue to paint into watercolor paper. While I was going through the old works, I also started to miss using markers. I used to use them as my main medium at one point, and I still have my markers and some paper that I can use them with. It could be interesting to use them again after so long. Creating art with different tools trains the mind and brings out new viewpoints. You can bring something you learn from using other tools to your preferred medium when creating art. This is one of the reasons I love art so much. You can just create and still develop in so many ways and mainly just be yourself. As I'm laying down the final details, it's time to thank you for watching. Feel free to comment and like the video if you like it, or if you want to share something about your art journey. And if you want to see more videos and get notifications when I post my art journey, do subscribe. Thank you for watching.